Good day, students. I hope everybody is doing good. Today, our strands that we are going to talk about is geometry and measurement. The substrand is geometric reason. Under geometric reason, we are going to talk about the transformation. Transformation, and one of the components that is responsible for changing object from one place to the other is the translation. So we will discuss translation, how to plot, and how the object move from one point to another point. Our lessons have been taken from the new curriculum of Basic 6, strand number 3, substrand 3, content standard 5, indicator 2. Transformation by translation. Translation is the movement of a point or a shape from one place to another. Translation of 2D shapes. When you talk about a 2D shape, a shape with the length and breadth, okay, or the length and width. Good. Sorry. A shape with the length and breadth, or the shape with the length and width. That is a 2D, two-dimensional shape. Or points is done or moved by a translation vector. Before an object can move from one place to another under the translation, there's a translation vector that will be added to the point before it moves. The translation vector explains itself in the directions how object or a point move. It's either it move right to the x-axis or move left to the x-axis where there's a negative and positive numbers, or move up to the y-axis where there's a positive numbers, and move down to the y-axis where the y coordinate is a negative. So this is how we are going to do. We have the graphical interpretations and then the formula. Mathematically, when you say the transformation, how to find the image using the transformation, we said we always add a translation vector to a point, and you'll be given what? The image. So a point plus translation vector will give you what? Image. Or it's either you use the translation vector to move the points around. If the point, the x and y coordinates, always the translation vector is expressed in what? In a coordinate form. So you have the x and y coordinates, so which will be added to the point. Good. Always the negative negate of x coordinate of translation vector x and y is moved to left side of what? The point or of the shape, and the positive negate of x coordinate of translation vector is moved to what? To the right side of the point or of the shape. So to find the negative of x numbers, we always move to the left side to find the negative of x, and then to find the positive of x numbers, you always move to the right side of the object, or you step counting from the right side of the what object or the shape to the, before you can get a positive negate of what? The x coordinate. And if the translation, then the negative negate of y coordinate of translation vector is moved down of the point or of the shape, and the positive negate of y coordinate of translation vector is moved up of the point or of the shape. So if the translation vector, the y coordinate, is a negative, you move down on the y-axis to find the what? To find the y coordinate over there when it is negative. And if it is positive, you move upwards okay, in order to ascertain the positive coordinate of y. Okay, good. Let's see some of the facts about translation. So once you are plotting to get a shape or a point, you must also use this one as a guideline so that you will not depart from these days, because the shapes of the object does not change when translated. So assuming that you are plotting and you are getting different shape or different directions, you must also stick your mind to the characteristics or the fact about the translation, that the shape of the object does not change when translated. When something moves, it doesn't mean that it changed. It moved from one place to the other. So the object does not turn or rotate during translation. And that is another second bullet here. Also tells us about how the object will look. Because when you do the translation about a certain shape and finally you find out that your image has been turned around, then you must do something to amend what you have done, because the one of the facts about what translation here is the object does not turn or rotate during translation. And in translation, every point of a shape must move the same distance. Sorry. Must move the same distance. So you make note of that. So all the points will be moved by what? The translation vector. It's not only one point that will be moved by translation when you're using the graphical interpretation. Or even when you are doing the calculation, every point might be added to the translation vector so that you can get the image for each point, and then you plot the new prime or the images to form the image, the actual image of the shape or of the point. Now let's solve this one using 2 centimeters to 1 unit on both axes. So the 2 centimeters to 1 unit, as you know, from a deep line to deep line is a 2 centimeters, or you can also decide from the faint line to faint line, you get 2 centimeters, but a deep line to faint line is 1 centimeter. So make note of that. The 1 unit means the intervals must be 1, 1. So the number is supposed to start with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in that order. Mark -5 to +5 on x-axis and -6 to +6 on y-axis, which means that the end of the negative side of the x-axis, it must end with 5, and then at the end of the positive side of the x-axis must also end with a +5. That's the interval. So it will start with the 1 to 5 and -1 to -5 from the origin. And the same applies to the y-axis here, -6 to +6. At the end of the negative side of the y-axis must end with a -6, and the positive side of what? The y-axis must also end with a +6, which means the intervals must also start with a 1 to +6 or -1 to what? -6. Plot the point. Please write these coordinates or these points down, because the graph, you might not get this one on the graph, but I will list them, but you have to write it down so that when you are doing the calculations, you should be able to know the one that you are solving. Plot the point P, which is formed by 1 and 1, and then you plot the point Q here, which is also formed by 4 and 1, and the point R, which is also formed by 1 and 5. So after plotting this one to form a shape, so you join the points together to form a shape. Translate the shape PQR by translation vector -5 and -6 such that the P prime, P map up to P prime or P1, Q map up to Q prime or Q1, and R map up to R prime or R1. Sorry. So, which means once the translation vector has been given to us, so you show workings by adding all these the translation vector to the point to get the image. Or when you plot the point P, it means the point P is going to move. First, it will move on to where the left side of the x-axis, okay? 5 left and then 6 down. The 6 down here is -6 of y. We said always that the translation vector is expressed in what? The coordinates. So x and y coordinates also happen here. So the -5 belongs to the x, and the -5 of x can also be located on the left side of what? Of the axis. And then the negative side of the y can also locate at the downside of the what? Of the axis. So that is why the point P will first move 5 left, 5 steps left, and then 6 down to get the P prime or P1 or the image of the point P. The same thing applies to the point Q. When you plot the point Q to get the image, once the translation vector has been given to you, the explanation is that the point Q here will move 5 left, 5 to the left side towards what? The negative side of the x-axis, because of the -5 can also be found on the left side. And then the same point Q here will also move to the 6 down, and then the intersection will be the Q prime or Q1. When you take point R, which means that when you plot the point R and then you get a position, the point R to get the image or the point R prime, the point R here will move 5 left and then 6 down. 5 left in the sense that the -5 here belongs to the x. In order to locate the negative side on the left side, so 5 steps what? To the negative side, and then 6 down to the what? On the y-axis. So the intersection will be the R prime or R1. Write down the coordinate of the P prime, Q prime, and the R prime here, or P1, Q1, and R1. What shape is formed by the PQR, or P prime, Q prime, and then R prime? So when you're done, you should be able to identify the shape that has been formed over there. So you are going to show workings using the calculation, the mathematical form where you have the point plus translation vector to what? To get the image. You can also work that one, and it is compulsory. You must also do that before you can also use the graphical to verify your answer, to check or double check what you have done is in an accurate way. Okay, good. Now, example, the question that I just explained. So you are going to work, okay? Show workings, working how to get the images here. And I think our previous video, we did how to work, so we'll not waste much time here. Good. Now, you write your solution. Good. Then, you write the formula for finding the image under the translation. So here the translation vector will be given or will be added to what? The point. So you write point, let's use P, or point plus translation vector equal to, sorry, equal to image. So that is the formula that you are going to use for all. Now, when you take point P, point P is what? 1 and 1. And point P will be added to what? The translation vector. The translation vector given here is what? -5. So here is -5, and then -6, and then -6. Let the image, you always expect the image in what? In the coordinate form. So here, let it be the X and Y here, okay? Now you solve them in an equation. This, like as I said it earlier on, this one is not a fraction, okay? It's a vector. So you solve the one that leads to the X, and then you solve the one that leads to the Y in the equation form. So first equation will be 1 plus -5, you put them in a bracket, equal to X, okay? Equal to X. And then the other equation is 1 plus -6. You put -6 in the bracket, equal to Y, okay? You are solving them simultaneously. So here, when you're having a depth of 5 and a cache of 1, the depth will reduce to -4 is equal to X, okay? So here X is -4. The same thing, the positive will reduce the negative to what? -5 equal to Y, okay? Therefore, the point P, which is 1 and 1, when translated or when it moves 5 left, 6 down, the P prime will be -4 and -5. Okay, good. Then we have the -4 and -5. We can also write this one down as P prime here. And then let's solve the other one, which is point Q. Point Q here is what? It formed by 4 and 1 plus translation vector, which is what? -5 and -6. Okay, is equal to the X and Y. Okay, good. Now in the equation form, you get two linear equation. Now you have the 4 plus -5 in a box. So you put this one in a bracket, equal to the X. And then against 1 plus -6 is equal to Y. So here, the +4 will be used to reduce the -5. You'll still be having outstanding debt of -1 equal to X. And then here will be the +1 will be used to reduce the debt of 16, and you'll still be having outstanding debt of -5, and which is equal to Y. Sorry. Therefore, point Q, which is 4 and 1, which move by translation vector 5 right, 5 left, and then 6 down. 5 left because the left that you can find the negative side of the X. So 5 left and then 6 down. That will be the Q prime. Here will be -1 and then -5. So our Q prime, or the image of Q prime is -1 and -5. Good. Now, sorry. Now going to solve point R. So the point R here formed by 1 and 5 plus translation vector -5 and then -6, which is equal to the X and Y. Okay, that is the image. So here you solve them in the equation form. The first linear equation is 1 plus -5. You put it in the bracket and then equal to the X. So, and against another linear equation for the Y, which is the 5 plus -6. Let me write the -6 well. It's -6 in the bracket, then equal to Y. Good. Now here, one will always reduce the positive. We always use the positive to reduce the negative. So here, our negative will reduce to -4 equal to X. And then the +5 will reduce the -6, and here will be -1. It will leave with -1 equal to Y. So therefore, point R, which is 1 and 5, and when it moves by a translation vector -5, -6, it will rather move 5 left, 6 down, and R prime here, or the image of R, will be -4 and then -1. Okay, good. Now we are going to plot the point and then the image, or you can either plot the point and then you move them by using the graphical interpretation to also assess the images or the prime that you'll be getting. Okay. Now we have our point here. The point that I told you to write it down is point P is formed by 1 and 1. Point Q is what? 4 and 1. Point R is 1 and 5. And these points are going to move by the translation vector -5 and -6, which is 5 left and 6 down. Good. So let's first plot the point P. So point P here is formed by 1 and 1. And I think 1 and 1 is here, which is a positive X and positive Y. Okay, so 1 and 1 is here. Then let me label the point like point P. That is point P. Okay. So that is point P formed by 1 and 1. Let me extend it. That is point P, 1 and 1. Okay, good. Then point Q here is also formed by 4, +4 of the X and then +1 of the y. So always the coordinate is always the x and y coordinate. Let me write it here. We have the x and y. Okay, x and y coordinate. Now let's plot the point P. So the +4 can be found on the x-axis, the right side here, and then the 1 will also be here. Okay, that is point P, 4 and 1. So that is the 4 and 1. Sorry. So let me label the point here. Point Q here, which is 4 and 1. And then point R is 1 and 5. So the point R here is 1, which is the +1 and +5 on y-axis. So the +1 is here, and then the +5 on that. And here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that will be the 1 and 5 here. Okay. So that is +1 and 5. Okay, let me label the point here. Point R formed by +1 and then +5. Sorry. Now, once you are done, you join the point to form a shape. So let us join the point to form shapes here. So we join this point. Good. So once you have done joining the point to form the shape, now you are going to move each point. We said each point must move by the same translation vector. So here, when you take the point P first, okay, let's first deal with the point P here. Once you added the translation vector to that, you get the image, or you can also move manually, okay? You can also move them manually by counting to verify whether what you calculate is also in the accurate form. So point P is going to move first 5 left. So from here, this is the point P. From here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 left. And then 6 down. The -6 is 6 down. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 down. Okay, good. Then you put the dots over there. That will be the intersection. Okay. So that is that will be the P prime. Okay. Now let's count again. He said the point P is going to move by 6 left negative side. So these are the negative side of the x. So it will move towards this side. And here 5 left here and 6 down. So the negative side here is 5. So 5 left. You count 5 to the left side and then 6 to the down. Okay, on the y-axis here. That is the negative side of the y-axis. And here the left side of the x-axis can be contain these numbers. So it's easy for you to count 5 to the left and then 6 down. So starting from this point, the next point will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 left and then 6 down. The next point will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That will be the intersection. Okay. So here you can easily determine the prime, the p prime, the coordinate that form p prime, which is -4 and then -5, because this line here belongs to the -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So the new image for point P, when it translated by -5 and -6, the image will be -4, because always the x first, the -4 and then the -5. Let me write the coordinates. So here will be the P1 or P prime, formed by -4 and -5. When you add them, you still get the -4 and -5. You can also do the calculation to check. Okay, because we have already done the calculations, and that is that. Then the point, we are going to move point Q, because all the 3 points are going to move by the same translation vector here. So the point Q here is also going to move 5 left and 6 down. So this is the point Q. So we will move the point Q here, 5 left to 5 to the left side here, and then you can say down here. So from the point Q, the immediate line is the 1. Where the point is not 1, okay, so the immediate line will be the next step, because if you want to move a step, unless you move your leg, so here the immediate line will be 1. So point Q here, we are counting 5 to the left side. So here is the point. The immediate one will be here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 left, 6 down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry. So that will be our intersection, and that will be here. Okay, so let me write the coordinate for that. The coordinate for here is always formed by the x first. You write the x coordinate first before the y. So the x number here is a -1, and then the y number here is 5, because due to my lines, the first line here is -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. So our Q prime, the Q prime here, or Q1, you can either write Q1 or any other letter that will differentiate the two Qs. Okay. So the Q prime, which is the image, is formed by -1 and then -5. And when you add the -5 to -5 and -6 as a translation vector to 4 and 1, you get a result of what? -1 and -5, as we have done as a workings over there. Okay, so this is also the graphical interpretation that we can use to verify our answers, whether what you have done here is inaccurate. Let me put this one in. Okay, see it well. Now, let with the R, the point R, we are going to move the point R by the same translation vector here. The 5 left and then 6 down. So then when you are here at the point R, the left side is here. So you count 5 to the left and then 6 down. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 5. And then 6 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And here will be the 6 down. Are you okay? Here will be 6 down. Then we have this one. Now you plot it here. Okay. Now what is 5 left, 6 down? Now that will be -4 and -1. -4 and -1. Okay, so let me write the coordinate or the image for that. So here the image will be the R prime here, formed by -4 and then -1. So that is the R prime here. Okay. So the R prime, you move 5 left, 6 down. And when you finish, you join the points together. Okay. Join the points together. Have this one. And then join them together. And then you have this one. Okay. Now, we can also use the properties or the facts about the translation. The shape here are the same. It has not rotate here, and then it's rigid here. Okay, so nothing has changed. All the points are moved by the same translation vector, and the translation vector was giving us 5 left, 6 down, -5 and -6. Okay, good. So I think the question was asking about the write down the coordinate for R prime and then P prime and then Q prime. So the coordinate for the R prime, that's the images. So you write them R prime here. The coordinate is the R prime. It has been already been stated, so you can either write them at the back of the graph book for the teacher also to verify whether what you have done is good in way so that they can also mark it for you. Or you can either list them out. So here, let me write them here. So here the P prime, which is also formed by, we got -4 and -5. That was -4 and -5. -5. Then the Q prime, sorry, the Q prime here, we also got -1 and -5. 5. Then the R prime, we also got -4, -4, and -1, -1. So, and the image form here, I think is easy for it to determine. A plane shape with 3 sides, and that is what? Triangle. Okay, good. I think we have done. So this is how we can use the translation vector to move the object from one place to another. All the points are moved by the same translation vector. The shape will never change, or the size of the shape will never change. Okay, it will not even rotate. It will be in a rigid form. Okay, cool. You can also do the calculations and then compare the answers, but it's advisable to always do the calculations on the other side, like the one that you first did. You do the mathematical calculation whereby the point is added to the translation vector to get what the image. Or when you do the graphical one, that one is the secondary statistics that will help to verify whether your answers here is in the right bulk. Okay, thank you for watching. See you later.